Right here in the Washington area at the Pentagon.
Looks like the helipad area of the Pentagon over towards 395. There were reports of an explosion. People said the building shook.
They felt the building shake, and they're evacuating that building. We're also getting word that the White House may be under an evacuation order right now. Again, we don't know exactly what happened here at the Pentagon, but you can see the result of whatever it was near the area of the heliport is lots of billowing smoke, dark smoke, and workers reported hearing something and then feeling the area rumble.
What do you hear, Tom? There is construction work going on there.
We don't know what is the cause of this smoke, but we are keeping you updated on this story. And, of course, the breaking story in New York where one of two planes we're now hearing that crashed into the World Trade Center was hijacked after takeoff from Boston.
On the left.
On the left is the Pentagon. And on the right is the World Trade Center, where reports now from AP say that one of the two planes that crashed into the World Trade Center towers was hijacked after takeoff.
President Bush has called the World Trade Center explosions apparent terrorist attacks. Again, on the left of your screen.
Now we're hearing that the Associated Press is quoting witnesses as saying it was an aircraft that crashed into the Pentagon. And that is what we're looking at right now from Arlington, Virginia. Our Gannett cam looking at this huge, billowing, dark smoke.
We're back now to New York City, and it appears that something else has occurred. We're not quite sure what, but apparently the level of the smoke, is it a slightly different area from the World Trade Center? Okay, it is now the base of the World Trade Center. There seems to be now a second area there of smoke, so perhaps indicating that some sort of explosion or fire there. Now, of course, what may have happened, of course, with the all these systems compromised in the building, you may be getting an explosion from that. We do not know what has happened, but obviously something has happened there near the base of the building, setting off another round of major smoke and apparently a fire. But we don't know whether, again, it's because the building, because of the earlier damage.
Okay.
The tower has collapsed.
Yeah.
The tower collapsed.
And it looks like we're seeing...
the tower collapsed.
Unfortunately, one of the worst fears that might have happened has come to pass. One of those towers, 110 stories, has apparently collapsed. We can only hope that the area around it was evacuated as might possibly have been in the time. We're going to try and get some more information on that. So this is a major update on this terrible day of developments. One of the two World Tower Centers, well, okay, now we're finding out that that may not have happened.
All right, well, now, or Associated Press is reporting that an explosion has hit another building near the World Trade Center. So, folks, obviously we're going to try to sort this out. This is a developing situation, but AP is reporting that an explosion has hit another building near the World Trade Center to explain this round of white smoke there you see billowing up from the bottom. As the professor was saying, this is well planned, this is concerted, this is major, this is an escalation, this is a different technique.
And all this happening now, it would appear in the last hour and say 10 minutes or so, 18 minutes between the two impacts of the two World Trade Centers, and then, of course, we had the impact at the Pentagon. I believe that would have come, what, 45 and 50 minutes after that, somewhere around that time.
Has been immobilized as well as a result of these terrorist
attacks. And that's
attacks.
A very haunting description that Bob Kerr just gave of that low-flying aircraft near the White House, and one can only wonder if that was something that ultimately ended up in the Pentagon.
We just saw a live picture of what seemed to be a portion of the building falling away from the World Trade Center. If we can re-rack that to about 20 seconds ago, you'll see something dramatic happening, and I don't know whether it's another explosion or a portion of the building falling away, but something major just happened at that building. Here we go to the tape.
We have the tape.
And watch what happens in the left-hand tower. I don't know if this is the correct tape. There, something there is about to happen, falling away right there.
Yeah, it looks like a big chunk of it has just peeled away.
One can only hope that the area has been evacuated. But
И вновь в эфире специальный выпуск новостей на канале НТВ, в студии Петра Марченко. Мы продолжаем следить за событиями в Нью-Йорке. Буквально минуту назад там рухнуло одно из двух зданий Всемирного торгового центра. Сейчас мы покажем то, что было снято операторами ведущих телекомпаний. Вы видите, что центр Нью-Йорка окутан дымом. Одного здания уже нет. Это произошло после теракта, который был совершен буквально час назад. Сейчас вот в прямом эфире вы видите эту картинку, что вот видно, как падает здание. Эта картинка была записана буквально несколько минут назад. Напомню, что час назад Нью-Йорк и Вашингтон подверглись атакам террористов. В здание Всемирного торгового центра в каждое врезались по пассажирскому самолету. Количество жертв до сих пор неизвестно. Я еще раз отмечу, что по официальным данным в здании Всемирного торгового центра одновременно может находиться до 40 тысяч человек. Мы будем показывать трансляцию в прямом эфире, не прерываясь. Я буду сообщать дополнительные подробности по мере их поступления. Еще раз напомню, что сегодня в здание Всемирного торгового центра в Нью-Йорке врезались два самолета. До сих пор неизвестно, какой компании они принадлежали и были ли на их борту пассажиры. По некоторым сведениям, это был один из самолетов был Boeing 737, по другим Boeing 767. Первый самолет способен вмещать до 170 человек, второй до 300 человек одновременно.
我们来看这条震惊世界的消息。北京时间今天晚上8点30分左右，两架不明身份的飞机在20分钟之内相继撞上了纽约曼哈顿的纽约世贸中心2座大楼的高层，并且引发了爆炸。目前2幢大楼已经先后倒塌。另外，位于华盛顿的美国五角大楼也遭到了炸弹的袭击。来看报道。
There have been attacks in 2 American cities, New York and in Washington. The trade centers here in New York have been hit by airplanes. In Washington, there is a large fire at the Pentagon. The Pentagon has been evacuated. And there, as you can see, perhaps the second tower, the front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing. Good Lord.
That was the scene just minutes ago in New York. Actually, as you can see behind, at the time when we were getting the eyewitness reports of what was going on, both of the twin towers were still standing. Since then, one of them has collapsed. A 110-story building, one of the largest buildings in the world, has collapsed after an apparent terrorist attack of a plane, what believed to be a hijacked plane that was flown directly into that building. Now, we are getting word that flights that were bound for Washington, D.C. and New York have been rerouted to Canada because the air traffic has been grounded across the United States. Transport Minister David Collinette saying that they are monitoring the situation here in Canada, that we are taking security very seriously here as well, to quote the minister, that we are also here in Canada on alert for any possible attacks as well. Although it should be mentioned right now what has happened, 2 attacks. There have been in Manhattan, one plane colliding with one twin tower. 18 minutes later, oh my God. Oh my God. If you can imagine the situation could get any worse, you've just seen it get worse. That was the second tower of the World Trade Center collapsing before our eyes. The second tower collapsing as rescue officials were trying to evacuate the building, trying to put the fire out that after a plane had collided there shortly before 9 o'clock this morning. Both towers at the World Trade Center, 110-story buildings, have collapsed.
What happened at the Pentagon?
I'm going to interrupt you, Senator McCain. These are the first pictures we have in. This is from Somerset County, Pennsylvania. This is where the United Airlines flight, I believe it is 176, went down. I'm sorry, I'm correcting. United Airlines 93. This was a Boeing 757 bound from Newark, New Jersey to San Francisco. It crashed in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, near the town of Shanksville, south of Pittsburgh. We're told about 80 miles outside of Pittsburgh in western Pennsylvania. It is not known how many passengers or crew were on board, although initial reports indicated no survivors. Again, these are the first pictures we have coming in from WTAJ there in the Pittsburgh area. United Airlines telling us earlier they had lost this flight, and they knew that it had crashed near Pittsburgh. There is a second United Airlines flight, the Boeing 767 Flight 175, bound from Boston to Los Angeles, has crashed. The airline's still telling us at this point that they do not know where. We don't have information on the number of people aboard. It is possible, but not confirmed,